Today we're going to go over our pan-seared chicken Dijonnaise. It's going to be a lovely Dijon cream pan sauce with a pan-seared chicken breast in it, a little bit of julienne onions. I've got my mise en place laid out. We're going to serve this with rice. Today I'm going to cook a 1/4 cup of rice. I already put a 1/2 cup of rice in there and got it just up to a boil. Then add my rice to it. First we're going to give that a stir. And then we'll get started over here. I've got my pan heating up. And instead of butter, I am going to use margarine for a different scorch temperature. And this recipe calls for 3 tablespoons. We got measuring cups for this. Don't do what I'm doing. But I've gone for 3 tablespoons, and I'm pretty sure I've got close to that mark. But I'm going to let this go ahead and melt up a little bit in my hot pan. Give my rice another little stir. This rice is going to take about 12 minutes to cook in boiling water. So once I've got it in there and stirred, I'm going to drop my temperature on it to a simmer, about medium heat, so it doesn't boil over on me. Now got hot enough up here with my margarine. And we're going to start and add our onions in. This recipe calls for a 1/2 cup julienne, which works out to a little less than 1/4 of an onion, I would guess. Once I get these things good and going and sauteing very well, we will then add our chicken breast in here and get it started. I'm going to want a real hot pan for that. It's really important not to over stir your rice, but you just want to ensure that it's not going to stick to the bottom of your pan either. Now I've already got my chicken breast prepared here. It's always a good idea. I season up ahead of time. I'm going to do that with some salt and pepper and just a little bit of garlic on it. And by this time now, I've got a real good saute going. My pan's good and hot. I'm going to make a little hole, and I'm going to put my chicken breast that seasoned side down. Be real careful when you put that in there, you don't spatter any of that oil out on yourself. And now that I've got that there, I'm going to go ahead and season the other side. And let that go a little while. Now I'm going to get ready for my next set of ingredients. Once this is cooked a little bit and I flip my chicken, I'm going to add flour to this to make a roux. So that'll be my next step. Going to get my chicken broth ready. We will call for a cup of that. And we're also going to need a 1/2 cup of milk. Now that you've got those measured out, it'd probably be a perfect time to go ahead and give our chicken breast. Oh, look at that color. Oh yeah. Give those onions a little stir too. It's a nice sear that you got on it. When you sear a protein, a piece of meat, whether it be beef or chicken, what you're looking for is, sear is a fancy way of sealing. And by that high heat, you're sealing your moisture inside, so you don't have a dry piece of chicken. It seals all that moisture and juice inside for you, so you got a nice juicy piece of chicken. Now that I've got that good color, and I'm starting to get some caramelization on my onions, I'm going to let that go just a little bit longer. Then I'm going to pull my stuff off to the side. lower my heat a little bit. Then I'm going to add my flour to my pan, and I can see that it looks like some of my oils got sucked up by my vegetables, so it's okay to add a little bit more. So I'm going to add about another tablespoon back to it, and then add 2 tablespoons of flour to get my pan sauce going. Remember, when doing dry ingredients, fill your cup and then scrape it off. Going to want to mix this in here with my oil. And the key is you don't want any of this raw flour floating. So back of a spoon works great for that. And once you've got that kind of smoothed out in there, I'm going to start with my chicken stock and mix that right into that same area. And I recommend just doing a little bit first until you see some of that flour right there and see how it's going to thicken. And just add a little bit more. And then the last bit of your chicken stock. Of course, be real careful stirring it. And give it a little mix right there like that. We're going to add our Dijon mustard. It's going to call for 2 tablespoons. One. And of course, this is by taste. If you like it Dijon, go ahead and add it. If you don't like it, you can kind of cut back on it or eliminate it if you prefer. And then I use a little bit of this hot sauce right here to kind of get the last bit of Dijon mustard out. And right back to our spoon, the back of our spoon, and we'll stir that in. You want to make sure we get that mixed all the way. It's real easy to take our chicken and kind of help assist with that process. And then once you've got it mixed in there, you see how thick our sauce has gotten. And we are going to take our milk and add that right on in here. Stir that in as well. And at this point, once you got your milk in there, remember, we don't want to boil it, so we're going to cut our heat down just a little bit. Nice little creamy sauce right there. Check our rice, and we're just about that point. We got a little bit of liquid still left in there. So what I'm going to do is turn off the heat and let that just finish over in its own temperature. If you have a cover, it'd be a great thing to put it on top of it. In this case, I'll improvise. And as you see, our chicken dish right here has just come up to a boil, which is what we want to do with our sauce. We don't want to let it keep boiling with our cream, so as soon as it hits that point where you've got that convection action, lower your heat down to a simmer. And now's the time that you're just going to let it make sure that our chicken's cooked, and then season, adjust our taste. And the last little step, just a little bit more salt and pepper. Get that nice and mixed. We'll turn our heat down and off. Our chicken is done all the way. And now that our chicken is finished and seasoned all the way, we've let our rice finish cooking. We're going to go ahead and take that. Little rice on our plate. And then we'll go right over here to our chicken breast. And then we just want to give it just a little bit of that sauce right across the top. And voila, we got a lovely chicken Dijonnaise.